Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Tech Frenzy. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Jacob says it's playoffs right now and you're going live. I don't follow sports. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you what playoffs it is. My bad. But, I wanted to come here live, and for the people who are watching sports can always catch up later. But I'll be talking Nvidia stock. Okay, we got earnings this week, so lots of stuff there. I'm going to be playing options through earnings. So we're going to be talking about that. We have some news from Robinhood and SoFi. I went through their careers pages. Pretty interesting stuff there. Shopify, if we get around to it. Different companies to pay attention to during earnings. OpenAI information, stuff like this. More Nvidia stuff. It'll be lots of fun. Google stuff, Waymo stuff. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Fabio, welcome, brother. Jacob, sorry about the playoffs, man. I don't know what to do. NBA, got you. Well, isn't that a dying sport anyway? I think a bunch of people are like, they're getting worse watch time, but maybe Robinhood options contract or event contracts make it popular again. Who knows? George, good to see you. Nadia, good to see you. Where are you guys all from, by the way? Ooh, let me put this up on stage, by the way. I'll put the chat on stage. I know that you guys like this. Congratulations for being on time. Thank you. I know Fabio's from Toronto, I'm pretty sure. Not crazy SoFi news, just career information that I wanted to clear up because there's always, questions on whether SoFi is going to be getting into SMB banking. And maybe we can start there really quickly. There's sort of the same old, which might get a little bit annoying for some people, but they ended up putting out the senior product manager careers page. And there's a bunch of these, by the way. And the one that they seemingly are pushing the most is credit cards. There's a ton of jobs for credit cards, jobs for crypto, which they're really excited about. They say that they want to get into a bunch of different layers of crypto, not just selling the coins, but getting in for payments, for custody, for who knows what. They've always had talks about stable coins and these sort of things, which would help their costs on the back end. But this SMB role is one that I saw drumming around on X a little bit, and people go, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to set up my account at SoFi. And if you actually just quickly read the description, it really doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. What they want help with is setting up for their referrals, okay? So still potentially not being a SoFi SMB bank account, but actually working with the SMBs and connecting them with SMB loan providers, SMB account providers, these sort of things. Still exciting stuff, but overall, not quite looking like they're going to be setting up their own in-house, thing quite just yet. Not yet. All right. Next, we also have Robinhood in their careers page that said, product managers 0 to 1, essentially meaning help us with a product that we do not have yet. Okay, this wasn't in the crypto section of their business. It wasn't in the brokerage section. It was just under products. Yet if we scroll down, they give us a little bit of information. As a product manager on the crypto team, okay, and then said, include system design that are robust to scale across multiple blockchains. Kind of interesting. So what is this? Is this more staking in these sort of products, or are they really heavily going into tokenization of real world assets? Like, are they trying to tokenize stocks for, EU and everything like this that they've spoken about before? Who knows? But this was also another good find. I was just quickly on their careers page and found this. There's a couple other 0 to 1 things, but you can't really take too much from them. They say they're brokerage. Some of them say, 0 to 1 for research purposes. It looks like they want to create some sort of AI research products. That seems fun. But the crypto one across the multiple blockchains is the one that I'm most interested right now, I think. Tokenization of real world assets would be a very big topic to tackle. And if you guys remember from the last Robinhood Weekly, they actually found, or sorry, not Robinhood Weekly, the Tech Bros Weekly, because we had to rename it. But the conversation that they actually sent in a letter to the government saying, hey, you know what? We need to start setting this up. Let's start the conversation around how do we have these conversations to get real world assets going. So very interested in that. I'm buying calls into Nvidia earnings. I'm selling calls into Nvidia earnings. So what? Let me know your price. Maybe I'm going to be owning those contracts that you that you are buying. Michelle, good to see you. Freddie's from Seattle. Let's see here. London, Wisconsin. Yeah, Fabio's from Toronto, Chile, Calgary. Cool. Tanner, are you a bit worried about your covered calls with the tariff delay announcement? No, I'm not. So the ones that I had written previously were for May 23rd. So those have expired worthless, and I collected my premium. The ones that I'm going to be writing tomorrow, which is what I wanted to go live to talk about, I'm thinking are going to be Nvidia 150s for May 30th. Maybe I'll go out even further, just depending on the premium. Maybe I'll go to like 2 weeks out or something. But it'll be somewhere in that range, 150, 155. Keep it super conservative, but a 5% chance, or about 8 to 5% chance of hitting. And then in that case, whenever it's that low, okay, maybe it hits and I have to roll my options. At least it's not flying past my price. I think that the stock will go up if the earnings that I had predicted, which I made a video about, ends up happening. We get 44 billion in revenue. Gross margin was better than expected. Then that'll be extremely positive. Extremely. The stock will run. Okay. In past history, we have dominated earnings the last 2 quarters and the stock has fallen after earnings. It's just, we're completely backwards right now. If you take a look at Nvidia stock, we can go back all the way in time here. Let's take a look here. Stock looks exponential. It is. Even 5 years ago, it is. But if we look back at just the last 1 year, it's essentially flat. Okay. And the actual stock does not look anything like this. The stock looks extremely the actual company does not look anything like this. It looks extremely positive. They continue to outperform expectations. And in fact, most companies during this earnings season has outperformed expectations. Wall Street's been extremely bearish. And so I think it's like 80+% of companies have outperformed Wall Street expectations. I think that they have really low expectations of Nvidia because of the China news, but even TSMC said that the China sales is not really where everything's coming from. It's all being sold into America. And so if the largest customers are the biggest buyers, like the Microsofts, the Googles, the Metas, I think that they're going to continue to have a great Q1. We saw a lot of big deals there with OpenAI and the sort like that. So still very positive. Yeah. I think we're ready to Blackwell surprise pump. Well, I think that the Blackwell ramp is going to have some impacts on their gross margin. That's going to be my biggest thing that I'm going to take or keep an eye on. I think we're also doing a massive stream, by the way, with like myself, Amit, and Jose. It's going to be, absolutely massive. But we're getting pumped on this stock. And I mean, hopefully I have to roll because overall the shares that I'm rolling is a small or the shares that I'm doing covered calls on is not my full position. So my full position is going to benefit from Nvidia going up. Well, there's a slight chance that I might have to sell shares at 150 or something, or even not. I could probably roll it out at a later date. But I mean, like just overall, the strategy that I've put myself in of heavily investing in Nvidia is going to benefit me if it goes up. Um, yeah, outlook for Q2 is going to be really interesting to see. That's going to you're completely right. Morris is right. That's going to hold the entire stock there. That's what it's going to be about. Um, they sell everything they make, absolutely. But even if they don't, the important thing too is that if they do have a massive backlog or there's more customers than they can sell, then the margins also increase because they're at such high demand. Okay, so customers will be willing to pay more. So we still do want that backlog because it just means that they could sell it for more. I mean, take the customer, but it is good to have that excess, that oversubscription, if it makes sense. Um, I think the sovereign deals will make up for the China losses. It's too early to say that. Uh, what I think is the more important part is how long is China going to even be a big miss? Okay, and what I mean by that is that they're already starting to change the H20 chips to allow like keep it within the parameters to be exported. Okay. If they can end up doing that, they'll keep a large amount of their existing business. Maybe Huawei will try to compete further, but Nvidia is the one with the superior software still, and it already has an existing ecosystem there. So they will still continue to sell even, worse off chips in performance. But um, overall, I mean, I don't know. David Sachs, I just was listening to him. He seems very positive on the idea of less export controls going forward. He is the AI czar for crypto and AI czar for the United States. But he still does not want China having those chips. His belief, which I actually thought was quite interesting, is that there's no stopping them in terms of IP. They have one they've got one of everything. Okay, so if they wanted to learn about how the Blackwell, chips were designed, I mean, they have it. But that's not the only thing that they want. They want the actual chips because it's extremely hard to replicate. So they will just be customers of Nvidia as well. But that's sort of the stopping them of owning the AI race. But to be honest, I think that the race is forever long, and you don't want customers going to Huawei for their chips. You want them coming to American companies for theirs. So I'm not a big believer. Jensen Huang said it forever that like these export controls are not going to work. It's a massive failure from United States businesses, from United States regulators to stop us from selling because China will continue to pour tons and tons of money in it, and they will eventually have their own in-house chips that compete very closely to Nvidia. And then you're going to have price competitions with selling into like UAE or other places like India or something like this. Like that is what you do not want. Then you lose, the. I'm not American. Did I say I was American? I'm saying we, a collective we. We're North Americans, okay? How do I see NVLink Fusion playing out? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest. I wasn't 100% bullish. I wasn't 100% bearish. It's great knowing that they're pushing out new products, but also, like, are you admitting that custom silicon is growing in terms of its market share and that you don't want to be out of the equation on those? I don't know. I was interested. Anyway, NVLink Fusion was their sort of networking chips that allow the chips to communicate to also not just be able to work with their own NVIDIA chips, but also with other companies that they're partnering with, which includes CPUs, custom silicon, so ASICs, stuff like that. No, I'm saying when. Oh, I don't know. Um, Honestly, I'm not sure. I read an article recently where they're trying to do artificial intelligence, or like they're trying to make good LLM models use. Or I know models is in LLM, but using CPUs. I thought it was the weirdest thing. They have some big startup there that's being funded well, that's trying to, uh, build up a model using CPUs. I thought it was really interesting, but also not interesting if it works, because then it's a potential bear case for Nvidia. But if you want to if you want to think about the CPU versus GPU, the way that I've always thought about it is just like I don't know, semi-automatic versus fully automatic. The CPU is much better in terms of the like cost. So for really really low production, or like almost like fast twitch muscles versus slow twitch muscles, it's actually good to have both. But whenever you do need fast twitch, you really want a GPU, right? Whenever you need to do a lot of things like rendering, you want those to be GPU accelerated. But for certain things like running an Excel file or something that doesn't have a lot of work to do on it, or a Google Doc or something like this, a GPU would just be overkill and clocking way too much power. So yeah. Hey mate, love the content. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna take off this hoodie though. I'm starting to sweat here. Oh, I muted. My bad. Okay. Um, did I listen to the Shift 4 Fireside last week? No, I didn't. I didn't. What was it about? I'd love to know. Ricky, the only things that I wanted to talk about with SoFi was, one, field a couple questions. It's been extremely quiet from SoFi and Robinhood lately. There's not been a lot of product announcements. So there's not much there. But in terms of the actual careers thing, you can go back to the beginning where we talk about some of their careers pages for crypto, for SMB. So those sort of things were very interesting. And Robinhood's career pages as well for their crypto 0 to 1 product manager, which they're not disclosing quite yet. Um, okay, let's see here. Yeah, the H20 has been depowered before, obviously. Like we there was a couple versions before the H20. Now there's just another one. Who knows if they're going to keep the exact same name? But yeah, we continue to push the bar down in terms of what we can sell. Spencer, anyone that's wearing a blue shirt is Blueberry Boy to Spencer. Tanner, Nvidia plays this week. Yeah, so I'm thinking tomorrow I'm going to be writing 150s. So selling options, covered calls for Nvidia 150, I think, for either May 30th. Maybe I'll go out a little bit, do 155s or something. I don't know. I haven't quite decided. So I kind of wanted to go live to field some questions. Obviously, I'm new to selling options as well. So, just interested in doing that for sure. It's not degeneracy, by the way. I think people, I was one of these people, for a long time, actually stubbornly, that whenever you say options, it seems risky. But doing covered calls, to my understanding, there's the only risk is the risk of capping your upside, or potentially locking yourself into a company that could have bad news and could fall drastically while you're holding these contracts. So like, I have been a shareholder of Nvidia for coming up on 7 years. I'm going to be holding this company for a very long time until something changes my mind. I think that they will be the most important company in the world. They already are essentially second place right now, but and did actually hit number one for a little bit. But I do see them at a $6 trillion valuation, potentially even pushing 10 trillion at one point. I've made that prediction 3 years ago that Nvidia will be the first $10 trillion company. I don't think it'll happen anytime soon, or at least not as soon as maybe some people think whenever I say that. But I want to hold on to those companies for long periods of time. While I'm holding them, while I continue to acquire those positions, I have acquired a decent position over years of acquiring shares. It would have been higher if I didn't sell earlier on whenever I was holding them into the run up in 2020. I mean, the stocks were just booming, and I was, taking, taking some of my chips off the table during that time, and that, looking back on it, was a big mistake. But I don't know, you learn those lessons. But anyway, I want to start taking advantage of the shares that I have. A lot of people like to make risky bets. I like the idea of playing the casino. That makes sense to me, So yeah. Taking profits is always a good exercise. I mean, I'm sure that's true. I have always sucked at selling, especially now after that. I kind of don't sell. But also, the more I learn about covered calls, the more I realize I don't have to sell ever. I've got the equity. People want the equity. I get to allow them to make risky bets on the stocks that I hold, especially expensive ones, especially $3 trillion companies, And I'm going to do it on a percentage of my position, so I can continue to make income from those positions. But if they do continue to run, I'm still going to make a large share of the run up of that stock. And hopefully I can roll it out if it, does surpass my price. But yeah. You never go broke selling at a profit. That's true. But there's a lot of people in my life that have gotten into investing or whatever, if I'm ever pitching it to them, and they sell at the first sign of profit. And that's been the thing that like Warren Buffett always said. Like, if you're here to invest and you're gonna like buy a company at $9 and sell it at 10, like stop investing. Like you're trading. Maybe you don't get a 10x in every investment, but like I hope for them. I buy companies that have the possibility of 10xing. I want very large returns on my investments. Or you have a strategy of buying companies that you think each and every year will outperform the S&P. That's an easier way of thinking about it. So like a company like Google, I'm not really thinking about Google 10xing for me right now. But whenever I think about buying Google here, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm sure it compounds faster than the S&P 500. So I'd rather take position in Google than buy more SPY. Yeah, let your winners run. I want to hear more about Nebius. So I'm definitely going to be making a video on Nebius soon. I still it's not like I'm heavily working on a video, so I don't have much to share with you here today. But it is a very interesting company. The team is insane. The vertical integration is crazy. I'm going to be doing more information on it though, and then I will probably have a video out. That's probably in the next 2 weeks or so. Tanner, in a general sense, what's your day job? I don't have one. This is it. I quit my job back in October. sold a book of business that I had, and been doing YouTube and stocks since then. Yeah. In fact, yeah, my girlfriend just quit her job as well. So we're jobless now. Thank you. Thank you. This is like that's the interesting thing with YouTube, right? Everyone continues to pile in and join the community. And I have to sometimes I find it repetitive, but it is true that not everyone obviously sees all the videos or whatever. It's just interesting. It's a different career for sure. Not a billionaire. Using EI. No, I'm not technically unemployed. I technically run the company that is this YouTube channel that is a corporation, but so no, I'm not I'm not actually unemployed. I'm closer to retired than unemployed. I'm just um yeah. Do you have any hobbies outside of finance and YouTube? I mean, not many, to be honest. Not many. I love finance. It's a lot of just like learning about that sort of stuff. Um, I get down with the occasional pickleball or something like that. I like to exercise. Um, you know, whatever. Yeah, Tanner Inc. That's the name of it. No. So I think CoreWeave's still a pump. Not necessarily. It's run up a lot, and maybe it deserves to be at these sort of premiums. But it always worries me whenever we have a bunch of companies that continue to push the boundaries of their like. I don't know. Just because Palantir has a very strong premium doesn't mean that it justifies a bunch of other really strong tech companies to have those premiums. I don't want those premiums to be the new norms. You know, I'm not a golf guy. I'm not a golf guy. I do invest in Bitcoin. I invest in Bitcoin. It's the second largest crypto that I hold. Solana's number one by far. That's by far the majority that I hold because I like the utility. But I understand Bitcoin as a store of value as well. And then Ethereum, very, very, very small position as my third and at the bottom. And just in case that there's some sort of layer two that gets built on Ethereum that is just, unbelievably superior and just the whole world gets built on ETH, that I'd like to have a stake in it. But I think that the world's going to get built on Solana. I like Nebius over CoreWeave due to the debt. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I understand that. It's just completely different strategies, right? One is trying to use debt as a tool for them to just be the only name in the space. And Nebius is sort of bootstrapped and is almost guaranteed to not fail because nothing can go wrong. So honestly, I think CoreWeave is a riskier strategy. But if they can get completely, funded that way, then they can be the biggest names. Some of the largest names in Silicon Valley have started just from extreme overfunding in a way. Year-end price target for Nvidia, 200 plus. So 200, 225. By the time that they show a Q4 earnings, I could see it going to like 250, these sort of prices. Seems extremely aggressive, but I think they're so undervalued right now. So undervalued. Their PEG ratio is like 0.88 or 0.85, something like this. For the fastest, I don't know. They're in the most important segment on Earth, solving the most important problems, and there's not a second place. I don't know. Yeah, PEG is a price to earnings growth ratio. Price to earnings to growth ratio. So essentially looking at a time frame and also including sort of the CAGR that you're going to see over that time to sort of see, hey, what am I paying for, but also paying for future growth. Is my Nvidia average under 100? Yes. My Nvidia average was under 10, like really, really recently until I sold my Tesla to buy a bunch of Nvidia at this prices. Before the dip, my Nvidia average was like under 6. It was like 553, somewhere around there. But since I've been buying and essentially like trying to double my position at these new prices, my average has skyrocketed. Tanner, can I grow a beard? No. To be honest, no, it's all patchy. It's crap. I'm a stash guy. What do you think about the nuclear sector? I mean, honestly, I'm really interested. Like, I was just talking to Steve about this. I was like, man, how do I play energy? I mean, like the future that I see is chips and energy. These being the two most interesting plays. And he just, I don't know. I don't know the sector very well. Obviously, there's so many nuances to energy. Obviously, I think it's interesting, but there's a lot of things that I'd have to learn there, and it's probably just easier for me to buy tech in an area that I know than trying to diversify in that sort of direction. But I also do think that it's going to be big. Well done dumping Tesla for Nvidia. I mean, it's definitely been the wrong play so far. Um, but I think that there's a lot of like Tesla Super Bulls who have decided my fate already, which is so funny. Whenever I made that, retire on Nvidia video a long time ago, whenever I made it, I think Nvidia at the time, this was before their 10-1 split, had, it was like 210, something like that, whenever I made the video, and it ran down to like 150. And every comment was the worst play ever. This was terrible. This was, this aged like milk. It was just all the worst comments. And then as the years went by and Nvidia skyrocketed, now we're up over 6x since that video, something like that. I think it was like 500 billion market cap then. It's absolutely crushed. And now every video is like looking at me like I'm some sort of oracle or something. But it was just, it wasn't that. It was just artificial intelligence just took us to the moon. But, part of it was a lot of luck. But what was I going to say? I think a lot of people decide my fate way too early. Way too early. Oh, wow. After you posted it, this video that dropped that no one was ever going to anticipate of robots dancing happened. And so the stock went up a lot. All right. We'll see how it works out going forward. Let's give it at least 12 months, Like I said, I'm not anti-Tesla in that way. If I could pick between Tesla and cash, I'd pick Tesla. But there's a company that I think has a lot of potential, Tesla, and a lot of bearish sentiment as well. And it's extremely expensive. It's all the bullishness is being priced in already and none of the bearishness. And so that's worrisome to me. And then Nvidia here has so much potential, so little downside in my eyes, and is being priced as if they're going out of business. Like, maybe not to that degree. I mean, Google is, some people could even say is, like maybe they're more being priced like there's an existential threat, but like Nvidia is being priced with no upside. Let's say that. So, yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just a form of, I'll call it like smart investing. Like I had to do it. Regardless of what the actual stock movements are at the end of the day, like I couldn't live with myself if I went the other direction, because I saw it. Like, but I'll probably get back into Tesla. Let's talk about autonomous driving really quickly, as Google is the they own Waymo and everything. Things are going well over there. And they just announced that they hit over 10 million paid rides on Waymo, right? Very exciting. But it goes further than that, because then Nate Bullard posted this thing back in March. Look at this. This is just in California. Their monthly paid driverless rides for Waymo. Look at the massive step up. Nearly 800,000 driverless Waymo rides per month in California in 18 months. Insane. Now, these are the charts that Tesla investors look at too, and they say, "Hey, that's exciting for us too." But if you actually look at the money that it's made for Waymo, it's not all that crazy, right? Whenever you look at the other bets section of their their revenue, it's not all that crazy. So I also find that it's important for people, like whenever they're looking at Waymo, obviously the potential's there, but it's also going to take a really like a decent amount of time. So Tesla can dominate in this space, but I also think that there will be opportunities for me to get into the stock even after Robotaxi has launched. Okay. People think that it's like you're either in before June or you're not, or you're an outsider. But I don't think that's the way stocks work. Tanner, you should revisit NEO. I haven't looked at NEO in a long time. Once China and America started having some real problems, I dumped all Chinese stocks. I haven't looked at it in years. Mitt did a 10-hour road trip, like 5 hours both ways. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, but everything about that, the launch already was not Tesla Bull's expectations. It was expected to be not geo-fenced. It was expected to be all throughout Austin. Now that's, not going to be the case. They are geo-fencing it. They are going to take their time going into 50 states. So I do think I'll have time. Waymo and Toyota, yep. Yeah, it's interesting. That's the hardest part for Waymo, right? It's the building of, or it's the actual like cars that's also expensive. It's not just the tech. So if they can put their tech on other vehicles, who knows? That'll be something that obviously Tesla will look into as well. But Waymo's doing very well. Yeah, I saw the retweet. It was crazy. That's how you found out about me? Cool. No, but those aggressive timelines for me is going to be a benefit in getting back into a company that I do think will have that company is going to be huge. Tesla is going to be absolutely huge. I believe in their products. I believe in the mission, but I don't always believe in the timelines, and I don't believe in their valuation all the time. They can be expensive, and that's okay. And that's a company that I've held for years and years and years. I'm really holding out for SoFi and Galileo to sign a government contract. I mean, they already have, but they said that will be revenue generating in Q1 of 2026, I think. Yeah, I don't remember for what thing. It was some health benefit or something. Some sort of benefits program that you could spend using a debit card. Galileo's got some pretty interesting things going for them, and I think everyone discounts them, but they'll continue to do well. I wouldn't look at it as being the saving grace for SoFi. I would look at the financial services section as being their saving grace. But I've been saying that for years. I think a lot of people look at YouTubers or whatever you want to call us and say, oh, they believe in Galileo. Guys, go back. That's all them. That was every other guy. obviously I'm bullish on Galileo, but for a long time I've been saying that, obviously it's not worth zero. So the analysts that price it at zero, I do not think is fair at all. But we've had decelerating growth for a long time, and financial services has dominated every single quarter. You ever follow me the way that I invest? I'm always looking at the sections that are the fastest growth. Even Nvidia, it was a whole part of my video recently where I was looking at their autonomous section. It makes up for like this much in their full business. But to me, it's those types of sectors that analysts are pricing in zero for that could end up surprising. An analyst, whenever they're doing research on Nvidia, are looking at data centers. And then maybe the collection of good ones are doing their research on gaming. Okay. The rest is just pennies. If automotive can grow into a section that I believe will be larger than gaming, I mean, I don't know who wouldn't think that. That'll be a very exciting part. It could make up for over 10% of their, long-term revenue. So that'll be a big upside. See, this is maybe people are having a different conversation, but this could also be someone that's listening from before in the video. Whenever I said that I was selling options, it's definitely not that clear. Whenever you're selling options, I'm not losing. I'm not losing. I could potentially lose the opportunity that Nvidia could run to 200, and I'm forced to sell at 155. Okay, my shares are not at 155. I'm going to be up on those shares, and I got paid to do that. That's not downside. That's opportunity cost, and that's only if they continue to run. Little different. Some people buying call options and everything. You guys do you. I'll be on the selling side. I'm not looking for exaggerated returns here. I'm happy with the actual acceleration of the company. But if I can make income on those shares while I hold them, then I'm happy. Let's see what else. Any other questions for this week? We've got, let's take a look at Earnings Hub, by the way, a proud sponsor of the channel. I actually reached out to them to sponsor because I was using them, and I'm like, all right, well, why don't I just partner with them, and then they can actually, benefit my users and everything like this. So there is a premium version of this. You guys don't have to use it. I actually only promote their free version, but they did give me a discount on that as well. But you definitely do not need to. You still get the earnings calendar and everything. This is the part that I think is the beautiful part. Whenever you go and sign up for Earnings Hub, you get this calendar to show, okay, for earnings on Wednesday, by the way, we have an FOMC meeting minutes at 2 p.m. that day. And then you can see, okay, well, we've got Nvidia, Salesforce, SentinelOne, Elf Beauty. We've got HP. We've got all of these companies. Next day, we've got Costco. We've got Dell. We've got Marvell. These are exciting, super companies, right? Zscaler, super exciting. Then you can click into these businesses and say, okay, well, how have they done previously with their EPS versus expectations or revenue? What are they expecting? 43.35 billion. All right, well, I think that's going to beat or something. Who knows? You can listen to their earnings calls here. You can get the AI summaries of, what they spoke about and everything. It's pretty freaking awesome. And it's free. So if you guys want, sign up for it. If not, don't worry about it. Let's go on to the next topic, which do we want to talk about OpenAI? Do we want to talk about Nvidia? What do we want to touch on? Let's do a little, we won't do a poll. Let me just see in the chat. OpenAI, which, OpenAI and Nvidia actually have some news together. Why don't we start with that, and then you guys can tell me where you want to go from there. But they are actually doing a large partnership with UAE, introducing Stargate UAE. So obviously they have their Stargate project here in the United States, massive $500 billion infrastructure for data centers and everything like this. They want to buy Nvidia chips and all different companies to set that up. But now they want to do this in other countries as well. Okay, so what we're seeing here is essentially, I think it's a 5 gigawatt data center, if I'm not mistaken, or 5 gigawatts worth of data centers, which is about 250 billion to Nvidia, by the way. But and whenever you go through the partner list, Nvidia is the only chip that's listed. Oracle, Nvidia, Cisco, and SoftBank. SoftBank is the money. Cisco's the network. Nvidia is the chip. Oracle's the data center. G42 is also the data center producers and their AI companies over there. OpenAI, gotta love it. First partnership under OpenAI for countries. It's going to be crazy how large this company gets, and the real company without any of the risk of even being a winner in this section is Nvidia. This is the part that I love. Like, Google's going to fight for this. OpenAI. Amazon, there's going to be so much cloud build out to, you've got the cloud, which is going to be the distribution for the actual models. The models are going to be the consumer and business touch points. So whether you think about, websiteless, appless, whatever you're thinking, maybe we just have what was just recently announced. Hold on, where is it? OpenAI purchasing Johnny Ive's new company IO, which they're going to be building a brand new piece of technology that supposedly sits between your phone and your laptop. So people think it's going to be some sort of smart speaker, sort of tablet thing. Who knows? Screenless device, whatever, that only uses AI to fully function. Whenever I think about what they're working on, I cannot stop thinking about the Rabbit R1, if you guys remember that. But anyway, these types of devices, they are fighting for consumer attention, whether that's in through advertisement money, subscription money, whatever. But the one company, not the only company, but by far the largest, that is actually the picks and shovels play for all of AI development is Nvidia. I think that's exciting. And whenever you talk about the life cycle of these GPUs, you're looking at between 4 to 6 years. So not only is Nvidia continuously selling more and more powerful GPUs that have to, that are being bought by more and more companies that are finding use cases and opportunities in artificial intelligence, but then even whenever those customers do buy them, they got to buy them again. It's insane. But the Rabbit R1, here, let's show this really quick. I don't want any audio because I don't care, but it was this device that they tried to go out and sell that was all AI voice, could potentially help you set up an Uber, book vacations. This is all the stuff that they wanted to get into. And then people realized that no one wants to book a vacation through audio. They want to see what the vacation looks like. Okay. They don't want to hear 5 stars in Mexico, 5 stars in Hawaii. They want to see what it looks like. So I don't believe many of these products are actually going to work. I think that AI works really well whenever you have some sort of visual as well. So I hope that that's the case. Some sort of visual. Johnny Ive obviously is a big guy in this space, but I mean, he's a designer. He's not the, I don't know. If it's not replacing your phone, I just think phones are going to also be strong AI components. This is another thing with a third device. I'm excited for what they're going to do, but even if it is just a audio device that people are talking into and recording, why can't your phone do that? Why can't it just take on those roles? I never understood that. Glasses could make sense, but also as a full replacement to other devices, no. But even the way that it was suggested that it sat between your laptop and your phone. That doesn't sound like glasses to me. Um, and glasses, I'm a native glasses wearer. I wouldn't mind these being teched out and me being able to talk to them or listen to music or have a phone call from my glasses, but it would not replace my cell phone. Definitely not everyone wants to wear glasses. Yeah, it could be a combo. The same way that headphones work really well with your phone, that glasses could work really well with your phone. I could see a world where Uber or whatever is coming to pick me up, a Tesla, and I look over at the Tesla and it's highlighted and verified in green because it's, I don't know, looked at the license plate or some sort of synthetic ID that, like, oh no, this is your car. You can go ahead and get into that. And it'll tell me directions to get to the coffee shop that's right around the corner that someone just gave me instructions on or something like this. Like, all those things work seamless. Like, I do think that there's a world, which is crazy, by the way. Like, this is so futuristic, but I do think that that's going to happen. I think that the technology is really close, but it's not going to replace phones. Like, phones are just so seamless. Like, it's crazy how useful they are. I mean, that's what I think Meta's trying to do, you know? And I think there's money in it for them. Like, uh if you've ever seen those billboards that are uh like, whenever a camera is looking at them, they can be they can be programmed to show localized ads through the TVs that they're being shown in. So you don't actually need, like, if you're watching some football game that's happening in Brazil, that all their advertisements that are going around the banners around the game are like just Brazilian ads. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. So these sort of things are kind of being adjusted to your uh, TV. But imagine the glasses that make billboards and everything. Like in Times Square, you go up and you look at a billboard, but potentially me and a friend beside me are actually seeing a different billboard depending on what it's adjusting to in my glasses. What do I think of AMD and what do I think of Nebius at these current prices? So it's not that not a fan of AMD. AMD, from the last time I checked, I'd have to check again. I mean, we could check live if you want. Was more expensive than Nvidia at the time. I think this was about a month ago. So obviously, Nvidia has appreciated quite a large amount, but it was more expensive on a PE basis and a forward PE basis. Okay, and then with that, you have a not superior product. Not yet. The software was worse. The networking was worse. The product, the overall product was not performing as well. So I just had zero reason to own AMD other than the actual market cap and people saying, well, it could appreciate more. Yeah, but that's not the way I invest necessarily. Obviously, I do call myself a TAM investor, but like, the TAM for Nvidia and the TAM for AMD, I'd actually say that the TAM is larger for Nvidia. So I'd actually trust that more. What about Trade Desk? I own Trade Desk. That's a stock in my portfolio, but it's not necessarily a super large position. I actually think it's the smallest position I have in my portfolio. You should make stocks on the companies you like, not on the ones that just get views. Well, I think that that's a balancing game. People say that they want to hear from me whenever I make videos, and then I'll make a video about a conversation or about a topic that I really like, and then it gets no views. So if, like, obviously as a viewer, I would want the option to have any opinion that I would want to listen to, but it also costs me my time to put it out. And I already have the thoughts in my head. I don't need to repeat it, So like one of them that recently happened was my topic on Robinhood versus Coinbase. Why I think that Robinhood actually has like a potential superior opportunity in crypto than Coinbase. But it's not a large topic, So it didn't get a lot of views, and for me, I have to adjust to that. I want the community to grow. I want to like talk about things that are fun for me to talk about. If I was just going for views, I'd make reaction videos on TikToks or something like this. These guys make or like kids videos or something like this. The reason why I made a YouTube video was to talk about things that I wanted to talk about. I'm doing that. But I think it is a balancing game. I'd love to have a Shopify community. Yeah, but you're the only one. You're the only one. So like that's also why I made my course was like my course is like, okay, I'm going to go super, super, super deep as I can into some of these businesses. And people are like, well, why are you selling it? Well, because if I were to put it on YouTube, it legit gets no views. The more in depth I go, the more boring I get. It just gets no views. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to put in 3 months worth of time and get 1,000 views. It's just like, what a waste of my time. So to balance out, okay, well, there's going to be this many people that actually want to see this content and are willing to pay for this content. Well, then it actually makes it worth my time to actually make that content, So I think that there's just content for certain people and, not for others. And I think that that's a balancing game. I don't think that everyone should like be a course member or whatever. I think that people who want really in-depth content that can afford it have that opinion or have that opportunity, and then other people don't. I don't think that that's shilling just because I make a product that I don't think that it is viable on YouTube. But everyone's got their opinion. Create more of an open market and close like a mint. I honestly, I've tried it before. What I realize is that whenever I'm taking in, he's an entertainer. Like whenever he's reacting to news that is coming out live, he can keep up that like his excitement or ability to. But like whenever I see news coming in, I just kind of like shut down. I just want to read it. That makes not for a good viewing experience. So I always like making my videos after I've consumed the content because I don't want to get things wrong. So I do think that it's, both are good, but honestly, he has real talent for doing that. Am I only buying Nvidia right now? Yeah, it's the only company that I'm doing right now. It's been a couple days since I've even past the weekend, like even last week, I was not buying a lot of stocks. I have not been buying a lot recently. But I'm writing covered calls on companies. I appreciate that, Billy. That's nice to hear, man. Thank you. Live daily recap. Well, I mean, to some degree, this is what I hope that the Tech Frenzy is. That I do this after I've digested the day, that I can talk about the things that I thought was interesting. And before that used to be SoFi, and then it evolved into, okay, well, people actually want to hear my thoughts on fintech companies. And now I'm just going to be doing general, tech companies and a broader range of my portfolio. But that also does exclude a lot of names that I know that people like. If I even say the word Adyen as a company, the views go down. Like if I say Shopify, the views go down. So I'm not going to waste my time talking about things that you guys don't want to hear about. I think some of it is a balancing act. I don't want to be like just like, oh, I'm going to say everything that they want to hear. Saying that I sold Tesla that's not beneficial to my views. That hurts my views. Saying I don't like certain companies, or I wouldn't invest in Palantir or stuff like this at these valuations. That is anti-views. But I want to be honest as well. So I say those things. So I'm not trying to just say what people want to hear, but I also don't want to talk about positions that no one wants to hear about. So it is a balancing game of like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, going and talking to your friend that like, I don't know, is sick or has something like that's going on with them, and you're just only telling things that are going well in your life. It's like, I don't know, right audience for the right situation, something like that. Would I invest in TKO? That's UFC and WrestleMania and all that stuff, right? Like WWE. I would invest in that. I think like I'm a big fan of the UFC, but no, I haven't taken a look at the positions and stuff. If that's the right name that I think it is. Um, no, I've been like a long time UFC fan since like Stephan Bonner and Forrest Griffin. Like I've been watching for a while, was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a while, trying to, also potentially protect myself. I don't know. But have not actually looked at like their entire business. The only thing I would look at is just how the views have changed over time, which has been a very growing business. Chuck Liddell, baby. The Iceman. Yeah, he was like one of my favorites. Chuck Liddell was like one of my favorites. Matt Hughes, yeah. That's like that was when I got in with like who was the karate guy that I loved? Oh, someone's gonna say it in chat. Robbie Lawler. Yeah, that's more new. That's not new age, but that's not quite Chuck Liddell, if I remember. He's like a little bit after. I mean, to be honest, he's so freaking old. He's probably fought all of them. Yeah, Lyoto Machida. Lyoto Machida. That's exactly who I was thinking of. All right, this is a UFC chat now. I didn't realize. Tito Ortiz. Oh my gosh, guys, you guys are bringing me back. These are all the old names. Ken, going old school. Ken Shamrock. Yeah, no, it is a pretty cool community. Tank Abbott. Yeah, I know all these names. I've met Rampage Jackson. That's cool. Yeah, it's the only sport I think I like is combat sports. It's like chess, but you're like, I don't know. There's like, I don't know. It's very, very interesting. That's why I really like jujitsu. Is I knew that I wasn't going to get like hurt doing it, which I actually did. I had my shoulder ripped out, but because I have bad shoulders, not because the person that was doing it had malicious intent or anything. But okay, we're getting off topic, so I'm going to end it. Make sure that we. I don't want to turn this into a UFC chat, but yeah, jiu-jitsu was great. I'm not currently doing it right now, but he is the GOAT. Anderson, so if anyone's really interested in UFC and wants to look back at the GOATs, Anderson Silva highlight reels might be the craziest things I've ever watched. He's a beast. Yeah, he is. Okay, you guys have found an interest in my life that I have not talked about on YouTube before. I do like UFC and new holdings. I do, which was actually a topic that I wanted to cover, but we're already over an hour. We have to talk potentially tomorrow about Nubank because they're changing up their management layers, and David is talking about essentially reconstructing the whole business right now, which is scary for new investors. It's exciting for some people, but it is something that people should keep an eye on. Currently, I'm not accumulating any shares. I'm not selling any shares. I'm just watching. To bring this up really quick, Nubank, David Velez says he wants to reduce the layers of management between him and the product managers in half. He said there was 14 layers, which slowed down the business. He said we have 118 million clients in Brazil, Mexico, and Colombia, but that doesn't mean that we can move slowly. Okay. We still want to expand internationally, and to help with that initiative, we need to hire new C-suite executives. Now, the worrisome part is the COO, the chief product officer, the investor relations head, and the chief legal officer has left in the last few months. David Velez said, "Well, we understand that these exits look scary to investors. The company is bringing in a new set of investors for the next phase of growth of the business." I'm excited, but I'm not going to be buying it right now. Horrific. I mean, it could be. I'm never going to bet against the company that is like one of the fastest growing businesses of all time. Definitely the fastest growing fintech or financial solutions company of all time. They are second behind any other financial institution on earth in terms of user count. There's one other bank that has 165 million users. Nubank's going to surpass them. It might take them 5 years, but they will beat that. Judo or jiu-jitsu? Jiu-jitsu. Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Someone said if I trained under the Gracies. I did not. I think there was layers of learnings from one of the Gracies, but I did not. What do I think of SoFi's brand awareness? Well, we had the what was it? The Axios Harris poll. That was kind of interesting. SoFi was not on the list of any other year, and now this year they fell under the very good category for companies that are, customer polled. So it's not the company that puts those names on there. They go and ask about the company's brand strengths and their loyalty and their value and all of these different critiques. And the customers bring the companies that they want to be put on that list. And so those names need to be top of mind in order for them to land on that list. And SoFi was never on that list before because they were small. This year we landed on the 41st number, I think it was 41st, and they were never on the list before. We were in the very good category. So brand awareness, growing, doing better. Are you selling Nvidia covered calls, and at what strike price? So tomorrow, this is what I was going to talk about. I'm going to sell tomorrow, either for a week out, 2 weeks out. I'm not sure, but I am going to do it through earnings just to take advantage of the pricing for either 150s or 155, something like that. Not sure yet. Haven't decided, but that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. I will write contracts for Nvidia. How much and at what price? Not 100%, but somewhere in those two ranges, 150, 155. Keep it nice and a nice buffer away from earnings. I'm not looking to get too close. No, I'm going to go through earnings to take advantage of the pricing. I'm pretty confident in what they're going to show off in their earnings. I don't think that it's going to outperform too greatly on my expectations. It could underperform what I'm saying, but even in that case, I would be fine. Sigig, brother, I'm just leaving. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. I should put in, you know what would be great if one of you guys could chapter this video. I'll put chapters in this video, but I didn't actually write down. I got to start doing chapters. I'm sorry, guys. I love you. I need to start putting in chapters, but I'm sorry. But you go ahead. If you just joined, to go back, we talked about SoFi, we talked about Hood, we talked about Google, we talked about Tesla, Nvidia, Nvidia options. Good stuff. We also talked a lot about UFC, but that was near the end. Thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time. But bye for now.